You stand at a crossroads right now. Whether you realize it or not, your life has already chosen a path, because you did. One path is easy, comfortable, full of praise, applause, and distractions that numb the soul. It feels good for a while, but it leads you nowhere. The other path is quiet, demanding. It calls for discipline, courage, and choices that don't always feel good in the moment, but shape something eternal. It doesn't shout for attention, but it calls your name. That path is harder, but it leads to power, purpose, and peace that no applause can offer. You stand at a crossroads, whether you recognize it or not. Every single day, every hour, with every breath you take, you are choosing, and in those choices you are writing your future. The path you walk is not something forced upon you. It is something you step into, willingly or not. The truth is, no one drifts their way into greatness. No one stumbles into becoming who they were created to be. You are either actively moving toward your purpose or slowly sinking into comfort and compromise. There are only two paths, and you are on one of them. The power of choice is one of the most sacred gifts you possess. It's the line between who you are and who you could be. Every decision is a seed, and whether that seed blooms into greatness or rots in regret, that's on you. People wait for life to happen to them, but life is already happening. It's unfolding through your choices. You are not stuck because of a lack of opportunity. Most times, you're stuck because of a lack of decision. You delay, you hesitate, you postpone what you already know must be done. You call it waiting for the right time, but what you're really doing is making a quiet agreement with fear. There are two paths. One is wide. It looks safe. It is lined with comfort, ease, and short-term pleasure. You won't be judged on this path. In fact, you'll likely be praised. You'll fit in. You'll get approval. But it is a dead end. It offers no transformation, only distraction. It feeds your ego but starves your soul. You wake up years later with success that means nothing, achievements that echo in a hollow life, and dreams you never pursued because comfort convinced you to wait. The other path is narrow, it's uncomfortable, it's lonely at times. It demands sacrifice, discipline, and faith in things you cannot yet see. But this path shapes you. It tests your limits and then breaks them. It doesn't offer quick rewards. It offers real ones. It builds character in the shadows before bringing you to light. People may not understand why you choose this path. They may call it foolish. They may laugh. But you will know deep down, this is where the real work happens. This is where the real life begins. You've felt the pull, that inner stirring that tells you there is more. You've ignored it. You've silenced it with noise, with entertainment, with excuses. But it hasn't gone away, because deep within you is a voice that refuses to be silenced. It knows who you were born to be. It won't let you settle. It will disrupt your comfort. It will agitate your apathy. That's not a burden. It's a gift. Because some people never hear that voice at all, but you do. The truth is, comfort is seductive. It offers just enough to keep you from pursuing what could truly fulfill you. It tells you you'll find the way you are, but you know you're not. You know you were made for more than routines, screens, and small talk. You were made for purpose, and purpose doesn't live on the easy road. Purpose is forged in the fires of difficult decisions. It is shaped in moments when no one is watching, and you still choose the right thing. It is born when you say yes to the voice inside, even when everything outside says no. Do not deceive yourself. Waiting is a decision. Inaction is still action. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you are making a choice to stay where you are. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to move. Momentum is either working for you or against you, but it is never neutral. You're either being built or broken by the habits you allow. Time is passing, and the path you're on is shaping who you will become. You are powerful, not because of what you have or what you've been through, but because of what you can choose. No one can take that from you. You can choose discipline. You can choose focus. You can choose to fight for the life that calls you in whispers, even when the world shouts in distractions. You are not waiting for the right path. The right path is waiting for you to walk. So ask yourself honestly, which path are you on? And more importantly, are you brave enough to change it? You stand in front of two roads, whether you realize it or not. One seems peaceful, effortless, smooth. It asks for nothing and gives you everything: comfort, pleasure, approval, and ease. The other is narrow, uncertain, and at times painful. It requires you to let go of what is easy in exchange for what is necessary. These are not physical roads, but the paths of your life. Every day, with every thought and action, you are walking one of them. And most people never notice which one they're on until the weight of regret becomes too heavy to ignore. The path of comfort is the default. It's the road most travel, not because it's fulfilling, but because it's familiar. It demands no accountability. It lets you press snooze on your potential, keeps you busy with distractions, and gives you all the reasons to avoid change. You tell yourself it's not the right time, that you'll try tomorrow, that others have more talent, more resources, more support. So you stay, you scroll, you sleep in. You let another dream die quietly in the corner of your mind while the world claps for how normal you've become. But comfort is a liar. It wraps you in warmth while your soul grows cold. It gives you short-term rewards that slowly steal your long-term strength, and it never stops taking. The longer you walk the easy road, the harder it is to leave. You forget who you were. You forget what once set your heart on fire. You laugh less, you settle more, and eventually you begin to believe the lie that you were never meant for more. Still, deep down, something feels off. You feel the tension, that quiet knowing that you're not doing what you're meant to do. That small voice inside whispers, you were made for more. It haunts you in the silence, in the still moments, when there are no screens, no noise, no excuses. That voice is calling you to the other path, the path of growth. This path is not popular. It doesn't promise ease. It doesn't come with immediate results or applause. It begins in solitude and grows in resistance. But it's the path where transformation happens. It is the road that demands discipline, vision, and sacrifice. It tests you, not to break you, but to reveal the strength already inside you. Every hard decision on this path chisels you into who you were created to be. And when you walk it, even if the world doesn't notice right away, something in your spirit begins to rise. Growth doesn't happen on accident. It is a choice every day, when you say no to distraction and yes to discipline. When you wake up before your excuses do, when you speak truth to your fear, when you take one more step even when it hurts. There are no shortcuts here, no cheats, no applause until much later. But what you earn on this road no one can take from you, not your peace, not your confidence, not your purpose. The world will tell you to avoid pain, to seek safety, to never do what scares you. But growth lives on the other side of discomfort. Everything that's meaningful, love, leadership, legacy, is built through struggle. Comfort may offer you a quiet life, but growth offers you a powerful one. And when you look back, you won't remember the days you stayed safe. You'll remember the days you fought through fear and kept walking forward. This path won't make you feel good all the time, but it will make you real. It will humble you. It will demand that you let go of old habits, old identities, and even some people. You will lose the false version of yourself, but in the process, you will find who you really are. You'll begin to see your setbacks as setups, your delays as development, and your pain as preparation. You may not see the full picture yet. That's okay. Growth doesn't ask you to know every step, it only asks you to take the next one. You will want to turn back sometimes. You will be tempted by comfort again. But remember, the hard road isn't punishing you, it's shaping you. It's not trying to crush you, it's calling you higher. You were never meant to live numb, distracted, or afraid. You were meant to live awake, alive, and full of purpose. And the only way to get there is to choose the path of growth. There is a voice inside you that doesn't speak in words. It speaks in restlessness, in longing, in the quiet ache that something is missing. It stirs when you're alone, when the noise fades, when the lights go out and there's nothing left to distract you. You may not always recognize it, but it's been with you all along. It's not loud, it's not forceful. But it never goes away. It whispers when you're drifting. It calls when you've settled. It rises when you shrink. That voice is not your ego, not your fear, not your doubt. It is the deepest part of you, truth, undiluted and eternal. You've heard this voice before, in moments when you stood on the edge of a decision, torn between what was easy and what was right. In times when you walked away from something that looked good, but didn't feel true. In quiet spaces where the world fell silent and you were left with yourself, that voice asked you to rise, to speak, to move, but so often you turned away. You called it unrealistic. You told yourself you weren't ready. You labeled it too big, too risky, too different from what others expected of you, and so you hushed it. You buried it beneath tasks, routines, opinions, and fear, but it never left. It never stopped calling you to more. The voice within doesn't operate by logic. It doesn't care how things appear on the outside. It speaks to the truth beneath your roles, your titles, your fears. It doesn't flatter you. It awakens you. And that awakening can feel like discomfort, like conflict, like everything you thought you knew is suddenly being challenged. That's because this voice isn't here to keep you safe. It's here to set you free. But freedom doesn't come without resistance. You will fight it. Your habits will resist it. Your comfort zone will try to drown it out. But if you keep listening, it will guide you, not to the easiest life, but to the truest one. Sometimes the voice within tells you to stay when everything says leave. Sometimes it tells you to walk away when everyone else is cheering you on. Sometimes it says wait. Sometimes it says run. It's not always convenient, and it rarely aligns with the timelines you've created for yourself. But it is always timely. It's never wrong, because it sees the whole picture when you can only see the moment. It knows who you were created to be, not just who you've become. You'll find that the more you listen, the clearer it becomes. And the more you ignore it, the quieter it feels. Not because it's gone, but because you've tuned it out. The world is loud with opinions. Everyone has something to say about your life, what you should do, who you should be, what's acceptable, what's realistic. But none of those voices have to live with the outcome of your choices. Only you do, and only the voice within truly knows what will satisfy your soul. That's why you can have everything and still feel empty. That's why you can meet everyone's expectations and still feel lost. Because fulfillment doesn't come from applause or achievement. It comes from alignment with that inner truth. There will be times when following that voice costs you something: relationships, approval, familiarity, predictability. You may lose people who liked the version of you that played small. You may walk away from paths that made sense to others but didn't sit right with you. You may feel lonely, uncertain, misunderstood. But you will not be lost. You will be on the path that leads home to yourself, and that is a journey worth taking. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's listening to the voice within even when fear is screaming. It's trusting that your spirit knows more than your mind sometimes understands. It's choosing authenticity over acceptance, purpose over popularity, calling over comfort. And that choice, repeated day after day, creates a life that not only looks good but feels right. A life you don't have to escape from, a life you're proud to live. So don't wait for certainty before you move. Don't wait for everyone to agree before you act. Don't wait for the perfect plan. The voice within rarely gives you the full map. It just gives you the next step, and that's all you ever need. Because with each step you take in alignment with that voice, the path becomes clearer. The strength becomes real. The purpose becomes undeniable. That voice within is not an illusion. It is the truth of who you are, calling you to rise, to return, to remember. Delay is a decision, though we rarely see it that way. Most people believe that postponing action means they're simply waiting for the right moment, the perfect conditions, or a clearer sign. They tell themselves they're being wise, being cautious, thinking it through. But in reality, waiting becomes a way to avoid commitment. It becomes a mask for fear, a shelter for doubt, and a quiet agreement with stagnation. Every moment you delay doing what you know must be done is a moment you've chosen not to grow. It may feel passive, but it is active. Delay isn't neutral, it's a path, a silent choice that shapes the course of your life as much as any action does. There's a comfort in waiting, a sense that we still hold the power, that we can act when we're ready, that there's still time. But time moves with or without your permission. It does not pause because you are uncertain. It does not freeze because you are afraid. While you wait, opportunities shift. While you hesitate, moments pass. While you postpone, your future is reshaped not by what you did, but by what you didn't do, and the cost of inaction often reveals itself too late, not in loud regrets, but in quiet dissatisfaction. In the slow, aching realization that the life you wanted drifted away not because of a storm, but because of stillness. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, but how many tomorrows have already passed? You promise yourself that next time you'll be braver, more focused, more ready. But readiness is rarely a feeling. It's a decision. The truth is, there will always be reasons to wait. The timing will never be perfect. The fear will never fully vanish, but every time you choose delay, you're not holding space. You're surrendering it. You're letting moments slip through your fingers while calling it patience. But it's not patience. Patience is what you practice while in motion, while staying faithful to the process. Delay, on the other hand, is what you do when you're afraid to start. Sometimes delay disguises itself as preparation. You spend more time planning than doing, more time learning than applying, more time talking about what you'll do than actually doing it. You gather books, advice, courses, but you never move, and slowly the preparation becomes a prison. It looks productive, but it keeps you safe. You stay busy enough to avoid guilt, but idle enough to avoid risk. And that space in between becomes a trap, the illusion of progress without the discomfort of change. Eventually, you start to believe your own excuses. You convince yourself that waiting is wise, that you need more time, more confirmation, more clarity. But clarity often comes after movement, not before. You've been called to more. You've felt it. The vision in your mind, the fire in your chest, the weight in your soul that says, this isn't all there is. You've seen glimpses of who you could be, not in fantasy, but in flashes of courage, of discipline, of truth. But instead of walking toward it, you linger at the edge. You wait for conditions to align, for fear to fade, for the path to be guaranteed. But that version of you, that stronger, wiser, more courageous self won't appear after delay. They appear through action, through the discomfort, through the uncertainty, and every day you delay stepping forward, you deny them breath. Life is not waiting for you to be ready. Life responds to movement. It rewards action, boldness, faith. It meets you where you are but pulls you into who you're meant to become. That doesn't happen through delay. That doesn't happen through waiting for someone else to show you how. You already know what to do, not everything, but enough. Enough to take one step, enough to start, and that one step breaks the pattern. That one decision shifts your momentum. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be made. Delay keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. It protects you from failure, but it also protects you from growth. It shelters your comfort but starves your calling. And eventually, you will have to face the reality that the door didn't close. You just never opened it. The dream didn't die. You stopped feeding it, and the change didn't come, not because it wasn't possible, but because you chose delay over courage. You were not created to live in pause. You were not designed to stay on the edge of your potential. There is more inside you, waiting to be discovered, developed, and delivered to the world. But it won't happen through delay. It won't happen through hesitation. The life you're meant to live requires a decision, a real one. One made in spite of fear. One made without all the answers. One made today.